Hi everyone, this is Dee from Passion for Paper Beads on Etsy.com, and today we will be starting Lesson 4, working with fancy paper bead napkins from my tutorial. And today I'm going to be showing you a whole bunch of different things. We're going to do covering beads with the napkins, the beads that are already rolled, and I'm going to talk about these and hopefully the sticks. If we have time, we'll do the nuggets too. If not, we'll do it on the next video. First of all, I told you, if you follow me on my Facebook page, that I was going to reveal to you my new source that I found for free paper for making these coil beads. And I'm really excited to tell you this because I think this is something that a lot of you already have. So believe it or not, these beads right here were made from the Sunday coupon inserts that come in the Sunday paper. And if you open it up and you take a look at them, this one right here, I love making this one into a bead. It turns out really pretty with the gold and the black. That is actually these beads right here. This is what they look like. If you can see that. So that ad, once it's rolled up, will look like this. Now there's other pages in here that aren't quite so beautiful. But that's okay because you can use the ones that wouldn't make a good bead, like this. You can make a bead as a base, and then you can go ahead and cover it with your napkin. So you would end up with something that looks like this, and then once you start covering it with the napkin, it will look like that. Now, yesterday I showed you how to cover the heart pendant, and covering this is the same technique as covering the heart pendant. You're just going to take off little pieces of paper. You're going to use your glue stick and you're going to glue it down. So let me move some of this out of the way. So to finish this off, and all of these beads were done this way, by the way, not just this one, but these are all covering them. So again, you just go in and you take about a thumb's worth, and you pull it off. So if you watched the video yesterday, I was explaining to you that pulling it as opposed to cutting it so that you don't have the straight cut edges works a lot better. So then you just take your glue stick and you put some glue on, like so. And then you're just going to pick up your paper and you're going to put it on and start working it in. Now because this has got color underneath it, you're probably going to have to put 2, maybe 3 layers of paper. But that's okay, you know, it works. The thing that I think is really great is that you can recycle the paper that you can't use for coupons or for making nice pendants and use it to turn it into something really beautiful. And also it's one less thing to have to buy, which is always good because we all know that crafting and making things can get expensive when you're buying materials. So whenever we can use something that we would have elsewise just put in the recycle bin, I think that's a good thing. So you're just going to keep putting your glue and using your finger. Again, remember I said not to use white liquid glue on these. You need a drier glue, so you want to use a glue stick because using the glue stick on top will let you manipulate the paper and kind of mold it to your bead center that you made. So that's pretty much all it would take to finish the pendant. And then once it's completely dry, again, you would just go ahead and base coat it twice like you would any other bead. And then this one has a hole in the middle, so it's really easy to just string them. You saw my whole strand of them. I just used a clear seed bead in the middle to keep them from sticking together. And once you cover the whole part, you need to go back in with your shish kebab skewer and you need to just turn it to open your hole back up. You can even do it kind of in a circle, but you just want to open your hole up so you have a nice clean hole. And once this is base coated and glazed, it's going to look really, really nice. So that's how you would do the covering. And then these are some other shapes that I did. The cone shape and the olive. I try to use templates that are up in my shop. So you can just roll these, and I just used the 67 pound white vellum to roll these. And then I just did the same thing. You might find when you do these, it's easier to work with it on the shish kebab skewer. And then just put your glue around and put your napkin down and press it into place. And if you need to, you just put more glue to work the edges down so that they're laying down flat. And you just keep going till the whole thing's covered. And remember, you'll have to go back in and you'll have to open your bead hole back up just by sticking the stick in there and giving it a twist. We'll clean it up. Usually on the ends, I make sure I have at least 2 layers of paper because the ends get more rubbing from maybe glass beads or bead caps or whatever you might be using. So I would recommend putting a little bit more paper on the end. I'm going to finish this up real quick and then we're going to move on to those tube covered beads. So you see, it's just like making the pendant. Well, there you have a bead that's starting to show some nice patterning to it. Okay, so that would be covering the bead cores. Now, you could roll your beads out of anything you wanted. Copy paper that you brought home from work that's being thrown away, you could recycle that, just run it through your printer, do your printing lines. If the paper's thin, you might want to use, you might want to do 2 or 3 sheets and cut them out and roll 2 or 3 strips at one time so that you get a nice diameter bead. But I think these beads will look really nice once they're completely glazed and done. So the next thing I wanted to show you, everyone was asking about these tubes. And making these tubes, there's quite a few videos online showing you how to do this. But what I did to make these is I used the penny saver, 2 sheets from the penny saver. That's the penny saver. Depending on where you live, I'm sure you have something similar. I like these because it's just a nice size to work with. I'm going to be using regular Elmer's glue. This is what we're making, is one of these. And this is a spray bottle that's got 2 parts water to 1 part glue in it. So we're going to be using that. Let me make sure it's spraying. Okay. And what I want you to do is take your shish kebab skewer, and I'm going to hope that my son can, is that good? That he can zoom in there for you. You want to take it and fold the end over about 1 inch and crease it really good so you have a line that you can see. Then you open it back up and you put some glue. You don't want the glue close to the stick because you don't want the paper to stick to your wood. And I did 2 pieces at one time. Bad me. It's 1 at a time. Sorry about that. 1 piece. Bring it back so that your crease is in there. And then all you're going to do is you're going to give it a couple of rolls right up to the end that you folded. And then you're going to take your bottle and you're going to spray a little water on here. And then you're going to put a whole bunch of glue. Come on, come out faster than that. You need the glue because when it's wet, it's going to feel very soft, but when it dries and it hardens up, they're pretty firm. And then you're going to want a towel for blotting. Then you're just going to try and roll straight. And you're rolling it pretty firmly because you want it a tight roll. Don't worry if it scrunches up and gets like that crinkly at the end. Don't worry about it. Put some more glue. Make sure the end's got glue on it. And hook it down. Then you can work those ends in. I think the hardest part of making these is rolling straight, but when you get the tube all done, you're going to go back and you're going to trim it anyway. Having some problems with my voice today. Okay, so now you're going to take your next one, and there's already enough glue on it, so you don't need to put any more glue right now. You take it and push it down so it's nice and tight, and give it a roll or 2. Spray a little water and more glue. And it does use up quite a bit of glue making these, but they're worth it. And you can buy Elmer's glue by the gallon. I think I did some price checking, and Walmart probably had about the best price for the gallons of glue. Then you're just going to keep rolling it. Moving my fingers kind of back and forth on the stick. Make sure there's enough on that last edge. And all of a sudden my glue stopped coming out. There we go. And go ahead and roll it into place. Now you can just get your ends, wipe up any excess, get it out of the way because we're not done yet. Okay, and then I just sort of roll it back and forth on the table a little bit to make sure everything's hooked down. And the other thing you want to check for at this point is to make sure your ends are down, is that it still moves on the stick. You got to do this kind of fast because the moisture is going to start to come through. You want to make sure it stays loose on your stick so you can take it off as soon as you're done rolling. Then you're going to take a strip of napkins, and there'll be directions in the tutorial for how long to cut all these and all that, so don't worry about that right now. We're just going to put this on here and put more glue. Oops, just about the length. If you want, you can cut this. I should have cut it before I started. Just cut it the length of your tube. That'll make it a little easier. Okay, so you just put this in and flip it over so that it's got like that, and then just sort of bring it back and put more glue. And then you're just going to roll this into place. And if your napkin's causing it to have a line and you don't like that, you can go back and tear it just like I showed you with adding them in piece by piece. You could tear the edge of the napkin before you glue it down. Take that off. And so the main thing now that you want is you want to make sure that you can get it off the stick. And again, when you go to take it off the stick, instead of pulling it towards the pointed end, you want to take it off the top. I'm not quite sure why that is, but every time I try to pull it off the other way, it gets stuck and I can't remove it. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to just roll it on the table. You don't want to press so hard that your hole disappears in the middle, but you're just giving it kind of a medium pressure and going back and forth. If you've ever rolled out cookie dough or something, you know how it takes to kind of turn it into a snake. This is just kind of making all the different layers that are wet fuse together and pushing that glue up through the different layers of paper. And then when you look inside, you'll know that like it's kind of thinner at the end and then it gets thicker. When you look inside, you can kind of see where that stops, and you just want to cut it off till it's all more uniform, and make sure you open it back up so you have your nice cut edge. Same thing with this. I can see that the last layer inside starts right about here, so I'm going to cut that off. Roll it a little bit more. And these are going to take about, I would say, 2 days to dry. So that's what it looks like. Okay? So we're going to let that dry, and you can put them on a shish kebab skewer if you want to let them dry. If you do, I would probably go down a size smaller than what you were using, just so it won't stick. Okay, so that's pretty easy. So then the one that's finished, I've already gone through with my ruler and a pencil, and I've marked, for this one I just marked it in 1/2-inch increments because I wanted to show you these are the beads when they're finished, what they look like. So I've already marked this using a mechanical pencil, and you don't need to worry because you're going to paint the ends when you're done anyway, so you're not going to be able to see it. This one is probably about, not quite 50% dry, but we're going to make it work. So there's my line that I made, And I'm just cutting these with regular scissors, and you cut all the way through, and then you want to open your end back up, take your shish kebab stick and put it back in there and make sure your end's open. And then to get it to be flat like those, I hope my son can get this, you're just going to be pinching it while it's on the shish kebab stick with your thumbs, like so. Okay, and that's going to make the bead lay flat. So you just pinch it, and then you can take it off. And to paint the ends, I like to use one of these triangle makeup sponges and just some metallic acrylic paint that you get at the craft store. And I put a little bit on there because I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of them when you're actually doing it. Kind of smash it around on the lid so that it's stable. And then you can just press this in and check the end and make sure that the paper color is not showing through, and it's not. Then stick it back on your shish kebab stick. And I dropped it. Okay, there we go. Turn this around, maybe you can see a little better. If you put it back on your stick, you can just press it down again into the paint. And that keeps your ends fairly evenly painted. It came out a little bit. You can do it like this. If you have problems with your skin, you might want to put gloves on. I get paint on me all the time, and I guess my skin's tough. It doesn't bother me. But anyway, that's how you paint the ends. The other thing is I treated this with the tube. I treated it with some sparkle, some shimmer, which is Glamour Dust made by Deco Art. And you can put this on at any time. It's a water-based product, so it doesn't take much. You just take it and rub it all around like so. Okay? And do that, and that'll give it the nice shimmer. So we're out of time for today, so I'll have to do the nuggets on the next one. Thank you for watching.